out to LA with it. I'm out to LA with it. Yeah. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing my thing. Get that money, ain't no thing. Anything I do for the gang. 10 toes down, I'ma ride with the gang. My whole life I've been doing.
Welcome back to another video, everybody. I hope y'all doing good. Back in my garage right now. I'm just gonna let y'all know there's a laundry mat in my garage stuff, so no one can hear it. But if you do hear some things getting banged up, I promise it's just a laundry mat. I don't got nobody here kept hostage or anything like that, okay? But other than that, I hope y'all doing good. And just want to say shout out to my boy Breezo. Thank you for yesterday, for letting me, capture your story and all that. So, it's always nice to chat it up with people. So today, I'm gonna make it a short video. We're just gonna talk about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. And I'm also gonna be watching a video with you guys. It's about the Democratic Party and how supposedly or allegedly they are connected to like white supremacy or something like that.
That's what America's built on. Big ideas.
What?
So this video may be sensitive to a lot of people. If people ask me what am I Democrat, Republican, growing up I didn't know what the hell I was. I was just taught that we should be equal to everyone and all that. So I'm not choosing no sides right now. I just claim myself a human being. I don't claim myself a Democrat or Republican. I claim myself as a Muslim. I claim myself as my faith. Being Muslim, we're taught to love and taught to be good people, And of course there's going to be extreme sides of every religion that you come upon. But yeah, I don't really claim Democrat or Republican. I claim humanity. That's all I can say. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking at right now. Alright guys, so I promise I'm not going to make this one boring, because I'm not going to lie, I was kind of bored looking at this. I just wanted to really break this down for people who, like I said, like me, who really don't have much knowledge about the Democratic and Republican Party. We're only told a certain amount of things about them, I feel like we weren't really taught, in school about the complex differences, Like at the end of the day, we shouldn't be separate as a people, but America, from the beginning, you either have to choose one side or the other. So, so anyway, so this is a comparison chart. I'm gonna skim through this without trying to talk too much about each point. I'm just gonna try to break it down as fast as I can. So for Democrats, the philosophy for them, they are liberal and they're left leaning. For Republicans, they are considered conservative and right leaning. So for the economic ideas, it says that minimum wages and progressive taxation. For example, higher tax rates for higher income brackets, born out of anti-federalist ideals but evolved over time to favor more government regulation. For Republicans, they believe taxes shouldn't be increased for anyone, including the wealthy, and that wages should be set by the free market. Social and human ideas, Democrats are based on community and social responsibility, while on the other hand, Republicans are based on individual rights and justice. For stance on military issues, Democrats believe in decreased spending, while Republicans, they favor increased spending. And for the stance on gay marriage, Democrats support, while some Democrats disagree. It says the Republicans oppose of gay rights and marriage, while also some Republicans disagree. So of course there's going to be people who agree and disagree. So for the stance on abortion, Democrats believe that should remain legal. They support the Roe versus Wade, and Republicans believe that should not be legal with some exceptions, and they oppose the Roe versus Wade. So if some people are asking what is the Roe versus Wade, it was just the court case that, was pretty well known, that has relevance to the abortion and whether a woman has a right to abort and stuff like that. So next bracket is going to be the stance on death penalty. So for Democrats, it says, while support for the death penalty is strong among Democrats, opponents of the death penalty are a substantial fraction of the Democratic base, while on the other hand, a large majority of Republicans support the death penalty. And for stance on taxes, for the Democrats, it states that it's progressive, which is the high income earners should be taxed at a higher rate, and generally not opposed to raising taxes to fund the government. While Republicans tend to favor a flat tax, same tax rate regardless of income, generally opposed to raising taxes. So of course that one's gonna be a little itchy when it comes to taxes. Like, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what we gotta pay out of our pockets, you feel me?
I'm here to make some money.
So it's just like, damn, in this situation, what would I choose? Would I rather be a Democrat in this situation or a Republican? Moving on, stance on government regulation. Government regulations are needed to protect consumers, while on the other hand, government regulations hinder free market capitalism and job growth. In regards to healthcare policies, Democrats support universal healthcare, strong support of government involvement in healthcare, including Medicare and Medicaid, generally support Obamacare. So this is why I feel like Democrats were like, they were winning, because everybody wants a piece of this. Who doesn't want free healthcare, Even though I feel like we don't get free healthcare, even when they say we do have free healthcare, hospitals, it's a business, They need people to be sick. They need people to, you know what I mean? So on the other hand, Republicans, they believe in private companies that can provide healthcare services more efficiently than government-run programs. They oppose the Obamacare provisions, like 1, requirement for individuals to buy health insurance or pay a fine, or 2, required coverage for contraceptives. For stance on immigration, so for Democrats, there is a greater overall support in the Democratic Party for a moratorium on deporting. What the heck is moratorium? Never seen a word like that before. Or offering a pathway to citizenship to certain undocumented immigrants, for example, those with no criminal record or who have lived in the United States for 5+ years. And for Republicans are generally against amnesty for any undocumented immigrants. They also oppose President Obama's executive order that put a moratorium on deporting certain workers. And Republicans also fund stronger enforcement actions at the border. Thank y'all again for being here. Let's see what this video has to say about the Democratic Party.
Today's Democratic Party believes that government has an important role to play in society. It fights against economic inequality. It advocates policies that battle racial and gender discrimination. But it wasn't always this way. The Democratic Party was once the party of white supremacy, supporting slavery and the Ku Klux Klan. To understand how the party made such a huge shift, you have to go back to its origins in the mid-1820s, when it sprung up supporting the presidential candidacy of a popular former general, Andrew Jackson.
Everybody knows that face.
Jackson was an outsider, challenging the political establishment and the elites of his day, and his critics disparaged him as a jackass.
Damn.
But Jackson embraced the animal as a symbol of determination, and donkeys started appearing in newspapers to represent him and his followers. In the 1828
So that's where the donkeys came from, because to be honest, that's all I remember about the Democratic and Republican Party when I was in school. I just remember Democrats, they ride donkeys, and Republicans, they ride elephants. That's literally all I remember. I'm like, so it's just funny how things always have meaning. Things always have symbolism, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty interesting.
Presidential election, which saw record-breaking popular participation, Jackson won in a landslide victory. So his supporters argued that they, and not the old elites, represented the popular will of the country, and they started calling themselves the Democratic Party. Jackson's administration immediately began expelling Native Americans living east of the Mississippi River, an issue that defined the new administration. After he signed the Indian Removal Act into law in 1830,
Everybody should know what the Trail of Tears mean. And if you don't, please search it up in just only about 5 minutes. So again, if anyone doesn't know what the Trail of Tears means or what event that is, please search it up, because I remember in elementary school, that's what we were taught. We were taught how the forefathers of this country obliterated a group of people. Not even a group, a nation of people. You know, a nation, a beautiful nation. The nation that walked what you're seeing here, you know? But at the end of the day, you know how things are run. And, you know, to gain power, you got to strip power.
5 large tribes were rounded up and forcibly marched into territories and camps further west. And the Democrats' ambitions didn't stop there. In the 1840s, the party adopted the doctrine of manifest destiny, the idea that Americans, white Americans, were divinely entitled to dominate the whole North American continent. Democratic President James K. Polk put this idea into action, massively expanding U.S. holdings by annexing Texas, acquiring Oregon, and winning much of what's now the southwestern U.S. in a war with Mexico. But soon afterward, national politics devolved into bitter controversy over whether new states entering the Union should be permitted to allow slavery. Democrats said they should, since their support base was strongest in slaveholding states. Yet a new Northern party, the Republicans, sprang up in opposition to expanding slavery any further. When Republican Abraham Lincoln won the presidency, the South seceded and the Civil War began. Once the Civil War was over, the Republican Party was bitterly unpopular among white Southerners who wanted to maintain supremacy over former slaves. So the Democratic Party promised to limit federal government intervention on behalf of black citizens.
I do want to say something. Democrats are so good at promising things. That's all I can say. Like, just over the years, you know, me trying to like see the power and democracy and the power of the Republican Party, one thing I do see is that, you know, Democrats, they promise so much things, but do they ever follow through? So I feel like the Democrats, they know how to speak to, you know, minorities. And I feel like that's why they've gained so much power, or why they have so much power, because they like to sympathize, you know, for those who are literally living in the trenches, acting like they care, but really they just need the vote. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. That's just what I had to say. So, because like I said, it's very sensitive topics, because I remember when I posted a video like bashing, I don't know what the Democrat Republican Party, I don't know what the video was bashing, but I had hella people comment and they were like just saying hella shit. So as soon as you start talking bad about Democrats or start talking shit about Republicans, it can cause a whole it can cause a lot, you know. I'm gonna try to stop cursing, to be honest. I'm always like saying stupid stuff on here. I gotta be more professional because people are watching and I'm trying to represent myself, but I just get passionate when it comes to this type of stuff, because we're looking at the people who are dividing this country, you know. Like, to me, I always thought that the Democrats and Republicans are the same pockets on the same pants. I'm like, man, at the end of the day, they're messing people over, you know. They are signing policies, they're signing all these things that did not help anyone but themselves. So, like I said, it's my opinion.
Democrats became effectively the only political party in the South, aided by intimidation and suppression of black voters. Democrats also won on state and local levels, leading to the constant abuse of the rights of black citizens. As the 20th century began, the country was changing, and the Democratic Party was changing too. A handful of individuals and corporations had grown enormously rich and powerful, using their vast fortunes to influence politics. And as a reaction to this, some reformers began pushing an agenda of progressivism, arguing that the government should take more of a role in regulating big businesses and improving ordinary people's lives.
I think that's very dangerous when you allow them to have control over our major companies. And like he just said, like, for them to have that much control over the land like that, I don't think it's right. I think, you know, this has a lot to do with the whole Proposition 47 video I talked about. Like, these policies are shutting down all these, you know, family-owned businesses. So the only thing that are going to remain accessible are those that are in control by the government, you know?
At first, these progressive reformers were present in both parties. But it was Democrat Woodrow Wilson who won the presidency in 1912 and put much of this agenda into action over Republican resistance. So the Democratic Party became the main home for progressives, and the Republican Party became more the party of business. But it was the Great Depression of the 1930s that sealed the Democratic Party's new identity as the party of government activism. In an effort to combat the crippling economic situation, President Franklin Roosevelt signed what was then the largest package of domestic government projects in American history, calling it the New Deal. And in the process of doing this, his administration dramatically expanded the size of government. Yet the party was still split over race. By the mid-20th century, it contained Southerners who staunchly supported segregation, liberal reformers trying to end it, and many politicians who were just happy to look the other way. But in 1964, when the Senate voted on the Anti-Segregation Civil Rights Act, this shows how the progressive reformers in the party had gained the upper hand, steering the party away from its racist past towards equality and social justice. But the Democrats in the South voted against the Civil Rights Act, remaining wedded to the idea of segregation. This chart shows the presidential vote for black voters. Around the 1960s, black voters who had already been moving towards the Democratic Party would begin overwhelmingly supporting the Democrats from then on, and conversely, the Republicans would take a huge hit among black voters. Meanwhile, white Southerners moved away from the Democratic Party they had been loyal to for so long, in part because of race, but also because of a suspicion of big government and a desire to defend traditional values against liberal activists.
The threat of big government. Okay,
Democrats would go from dominating the South to losing almost all influence in the region. Thanks in part to this drop in popularity among white voters, Democrats started losing elections, often losing by huge margins. But demographically, the US is becoming an increasingly non-white country, and the Democrats have had a comeback thanks in part to minority voters. The huge influx of Hispanic voters has especially benefited Democrats. These demographic shifts helped the Democratic Party, once the advocates of white supremacy and slavery, to elect the first black president in 2008, showing just how much the party had changed over the years. Yet it's not entirely clear where the future of the Democratic Party will lie. But as America becomes more diverse, it's likely that the Democratic Party's appeal among minorities will continue to be its strength into the future.
All right, thank you guys for staying tuned. I was low-key like not talking just because, like I said, this is to me is like new. Like I've never really studied the difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. I was just, living my life, you feel me? But like as we get older, I feel like we have to start knowing who's controlling us, like who are these people that are making these decisions for us and all that good stuff, because I feel like the number one thing they do is they don't want us to have knowledge about what's going on behind closed doors. They don't want us to know about the branches of government and how the people, if we know what we're doing and if we know our rights, we can overthrow any government. Because at the end, like in the video said, like, a government can be good, but sometimes a government having too much control can really cause a civil war. Like, I know we've seen civil wars in the past, and right now everybody's all thinking about like World War III and like, what country we're finna go to war with. But aren't we already in a war within our own borders? Like, don't you already see the hatred going around, like, toward minority groups and people of certain color and people of certain beliefs and all that? So I feel like with the whole Democrat and Republican movement in 2024, it's really not helping. And I could be wrong, like maybe having these two parties keep America stable, but with everything that I'm seeing right now, it's only causing a divide. And that's the reason why I want to do this video, was because, well, first all, it's kind of boring. Like, I don't really like talking about government and, all the stuff that happens over there, because it's so freaking complex. There's so much stuff going on, and like, we only have so much knowledge, you feel me? But I feel like as we start taking a deeper dive into government and into politics, we can really unleash ourselves from these shackles, because having knowledge and applying knowledge can overthrow government, and the government does not want us to have knowledge. They just want us to rely on them and to rely on their knowledge. So yeah, at the end of the day, I had to do this video because the elections, it's coming up pretty soon, and it just looked like there's not gonna be any change. That's what I feel. I feel like what's coming it's gonna be very, different, so like the last thing I can say right now is I just hope that we all start becoming a representative of, our communities and of our country. I know a lot of us were first generation born, and our families came here from another country and stuff like that. But I really do hope that it will be our generation that can bring back, like true morals and true values, and to show people the real importance of unity, So that's just what I had to say, and I just want to say always thank you so much for staying tuned, and this journey of mine on this YouTube channel and stuff like that. It's just cool to start something and to just work on something as well. So the last thing I want to say is work on your dream. If you don't have a dream yet, it's out there. You just gotta tap in with yourself. Don't tap in with the Matrix. Don't tap in with depression and stress and all that good stuff. Just tap in with yourself, because once you start doing that, you'll find out so much things. And I'm still on that journey right now. I'm still trying to find out who I am and what my purpose is and all that good stuff. But all right, thank y'all so much. Hope y'all have a good one.